My name is Ainur Amangeldi, and this is my SRA application video. So currently, I'm a junior majoring in chemical engineering, and I have minors in business and math. The number one reason why I even considered applying for the SRA position is because I had such a positive experience with my fellow SRAs. I can fully acknowledge that they played a very big role in me being able to find my footing as an RA. So I just want to give back to the community, and I understand how intimidating and scary it can be coming into the RA role for the very first time. So I just want to make it a smoother experience for future RAs. One thing I want to gain from this experience is more confidence in my leadership skills because growing up in middle school, I was a very shy kid that struggled with anxiety, so any leadership position would absolutely terrify me. But I've come a long way since middle school. I've grown a lot, but still there's a voice that lingers saying I don't belong in positions like that. So I want to prove to myself that I can do hard things, and I can see now how much the RA role has done for me and my confidence, and I want to keep building upon that. So, to me, this experience is an opportunity not only for professional growth, but personal growth too. If RAs are the first point of contact for residents, I feel like SRAs are the first point of contact for RAs, and being able to do your job well as an SRA and help out your RAs would eventually trickle down to you helping out residents, which results in the overall well being of the entire community. So it's a very important role. And I feel like one of the main responsibilities of an SRA is to foster a family environment within the staff. That could look like organizing staff events outside of the role, and coming up with icebreakers for staff meeting, just creating a welcoming environment that everybody wants to be a part of. I feel like that would make an enjoyable experience for everyone involved. And I feel like a trait that helps an SRA flourish in this position is this balance, is the ability to balance leadership and approachability, because you never want to position yourself like you're above someone, and you don't want to create a distance between your RAs, and make them feel like they can't reach out to you. But you also want to be a firm and respected voice in your staff. So I feel like being able to dance this thin line of these two characteristics would make you an outstanding SRA. After reviewing the position description, I feel like I would naturally fit into the mentorship and diversity aspects of the role. I'm originally from Kazakhstan, but I also lived in the United Kingdom. So growing up, I was always surrounded by different cultures, ethnicities, religions, and stuff like that. So I don't have a problem talking to someone who has a different background or upbringing than me. I'm also very passionate about inclusivity, and I like to practice this through the coursework I take. One strong thing about my leadership skills is my mentoring background. For example, this past summer, I interned at an American Kazakh oil company where I was the only intern that studies in an American university. So there were some things I knew that my other peers did not, but I had no problem helping them understand the software we needed to use, or help them read piping and instrumentation diagrams, because I knew that for us to reach this common goal that our supervisor gave us, we all had to work together, and that my success directly depended on their success and vice versa. And I also saw it as a way to help people back in my country by relaying the information I learned here in the States to back home. And another mentorship experience I have is my chemical engineering ambassadors role, where we are trained professionally to memorize information about the chemical engineering department. We host open houses and Q&A sessions, so I don't have a problem um, answering other people's or like students' questions about um, specific things on campus. Um, and one last thing, I was a high school tutor for English back in Kazakhstan. I used to teach middle schoolers. One challenge I faced while being on staff is a staff member treating me disrespectfully. We usually like to have friendly banter between this person because it's the best way we get along, but sometimes they would take it a little too far, and I knew avoiding the situation would not be sustainable in the long run because we do work closely together, and I also believe in a positive working environment. I didn't want any hostility or resentment building up from any side. So how I handled the situation was I pulled them aside for a honest and private conversation where I told them how their words were affecting me and asked them if they could tone it down a little, which they did, and eventually it did get resolved. But I still decided to bring this up to my supervisor, not to escalate things, just to document the situation and make sure this behavior is not repeated. This experience really taught me about assertive communication and emotional boundaries. In my opinion, the best way to be a role model is to do things you would expect others to do too. So, for example, I would never ask someone to do something I wasn't doing myself. It just wouldn't make sense. That would look like coming to staff meetings on time, being present in those meetings, taking my area responsibility seriously, because I feel like leading by example naturally builds respect without you having to actually enforce it. Um, as for boundaries, I like to balance my bubbly personality with professionalism. I like making people laugh. I feel like it brings people together. That said, I don't want my easygoing nature to be taken as passivity or a lack of seriousness. I see my humor and warmth as a way to connect with others, but I also know when to shift the tone to a more serious one. So how I would do this is I would set expectations early on with my staff and explain how I like banter and a fun environment, but when it does come to serious matters, I do expect their full concentration and focus. This is a small summary of everything I've talked about in this video, and with that being said, this concludes my application. I'm very grateful for the opportunities the RA role has given me, and I'm excited to grow some more. Thank you so much for your attention and time.